Hello everyone, welcome back to Coding with Nathan. Today we're building something really fun. It's a Mad Libs story generator in Python using the TK interface. This is a project in our beginner series and it's one of the most entertaining ones yet. Mad Libs is a classic game where you fill in words and get a silly story at the end. By the end of this video, you'll have your own story generator that creates hilarious stories every time. This project is great for practicing user input, string formatting, building engaging interfaces. So let's dive in. As always, we are going to start with a demo of the finished product, and here it is. Start with our name, Daisy, a noun. Go with a giraffe. We will run, scary, robots, dogs. Number 12. Famous person. Albert Einstein. Verb. We will be running. A place. A beach sounds good. All right. What do we get when we hit the button? We get our story. One sunny day, Nathan went to the beach. They saw a crazy giraffe sitting there. Suddenly, the giraffe started to run very fast. Nathan was so scary that they dropped their dogs. Then Albert Einstein appeared and said, "Let's running together." They had a great time and counted 12 stars that night. All right, you get the idea. All right, let's get ready to code. We're going to create Mad Libs generator. It's going to include multiple input fields for different types of words, a clean but colorful interface, a button to generate the story, a large text area to display the completed story, and the option to generate a new story. We'll use a fun beach adventure story template, but you can easily change it later. All right, create your file and save it as mad_libs_generator.py like we have done here. And now, as before, we have pre-typed in some sections, and we will then type in along with you the main code I'm going to use. So, as always, we need to import the TK interface as TK. This allows us to use the functions in the TK interface by putting TK period out front. We then further go down and take out the message box from TK interface so that we can use the message box by just referencing message box with not even with TK in front of it. We then import random because we will need to select which story we are going to use. We then have our color palette so that we do not have to type these hex codes, and it's in one place where you can easily change it if you don't like it. And finally, we start with our code by declaring our class, and we call ours Mad Libs generator. We then have to initialize ourselves, and this is the function init. We start by initializing the TK interface library, give our window a title, set up the size of the window. We chose 800 by 800. This seems to be big enough. We then give it a background color, make it non-resizable, and call our function that we've been using throughout our tutorials called create widgets, which will actually create all the fields and buttons on the window. All right, so then we define create widgets, and we give it, put the title in a label. We then have a label for instructions. So we're going to tell ourselves to fill in all the words below and click generate story. We then put in a frame to hold all our input. We call this input frame. And then we create input fields where we are going to get our inputs from. All right, and then we set up the fields. These are the descriptors that we're going to use and what we are going to call them. So the first descriptor is your name. We're going to call it by name. Adjective, we're going to call this adjective 1, etc. All right, then we're going to use a for loop. So we're going to go for I to label text key in enumerate fields. That means we're going to take the things we have defined in fields. First field is going to be your label text. That's your name. And then the key that we're going to use is the second field. All right. So we sort those out. And then frame equals TK frame. And we put in a label for each one. So in the label, we're going to use the label text. And then we're going to set our key in the keys. All right, we are then going to set up our buttons. We're going to make a new frame called button frame. We only have a couple of buttons. One is to generate the story, and the command we're going to use on that is a function that we are going to write called generate story. And then we are going to have a clear button so we can clear all the fields. And the function we're going to use for that is called clear fields. All right, then we need to display our story. So we need a big label called our story, and then where we're going to put the text. So we put a text field. And that is it. Then we have our run, which tells our class what to run. And we have our initialization here to run the application. So if this module is called main, then we instantiate our class and call the run function. All right, now let's get in there and put in the rest of the functions we need to work. All right, we're going to start with our generate story. So we're going to define the function generate story. So, right. First, we need to get all the inputs. Words are going to equal key. Strip off all the extra characters. Strip key. Items. All right. Check for empty fields. Let's do that. If any value. We have key value pairs here. Value. Empty value and words dot values. To message box. Show warning. Missing words. Please fill in all the fields. All right. Then, since there was an error and we don't want to continue, we will just return out of here. All right. Then we have to go to the actually making the story. We are going to randomly choose one. All right. So we need to define our stories. So we will do that in stories. It's going to be an array. Day. Name. To right, 2 fields down. They saw a birds. Birds. Tip 1. Birds. 1. Sticking there. Suddenly. One. Started to words. Verb 1. Very fast. Okay, that's the exclamation point there. Get the line. Words. Name. One. Birds. We edged it 2. They drop their words down 2. All right. Then words. Person. All right. Appeared and said, let's words. Verb 2. Together. They had a great time and counted words number stars at night. All right. That is our story. End it. This, we're going to start our second story. Okay, the triple quotes here just means to ignore any quotes in the middle like this until you get to another set of triple quotes. All right, so let's, what's happening there? Here we're going to do the same thing, words. So we already have all these. Name is walking through a words adjective 1 forest, and they found a magical words. Found 1. All right. As soon as they touched it, the words and 2 words 1. Okay. Words. Nope. Person. Feared. Shouted. You must. Two. All right. Words. Name. Felt. Very. Words. Tip 2. And ran with words. Number. Number. Words. 2. Following. Behind. Yes, we will learn how to spell someday. Right. It was most exciting day at words place. Ever. All right. And we will go down here. And our story. All right, so have to do now, choose random story and display it. All right, our story equals, yes, I had it, random choice stories. Self story text delete 1.0 tk end. And story text insert tk.end story.strip. Okay, not a comma, period. All right, that is our generate story function. Then need a few other ones. Well, just one. Need to clear the fields. Self. It's just clearing all our entry fields so you can enter different values. Self.trees.values. Entry.delete 0, tk. Right. It's going to do that, and then we're going to also clear the story. So story text.delete otk.end. All right, that should do it. And of course, this is already telling us that at line 130 we have something wrong. All right, so what do we got wrong up here? It's at the top of our generate stories. Items. Okay, what we have is this is not brackets. This is parentheses. Now take care of that. Verb 1 is not defined. Pretty sure we defined verb 1. There's no verb 1. There's just, and then there's verb 1. 142. Ah, okay. They are correct because this should be in quotes like that. All right, now we have taken care of all the problems, and all we have to do is run it. All right, so let's run this. Python debugger. All right, well, it came up, so that's good. Now, Nathan, it's going to be shiny. It's going to have a spaceship. We're going to jump. It's going to be beautiful cats. We're going to do 30, 22, a famous person. Wayne Kretz. John Wayne. John Wayne. We will be prancing. And we will be on a mountain. All right, we're going to generate our story. Get our story. One sunny day, Nathan went to the mountain. They saw a shiny spaceship sitting there. Suddenly, the spaceship started to jump very fast. Nathan was so beautiful that they dropped their cats. Then John Wayne appeared and said, "Let's prancing together." They had a great time and counted 22 stars that night. All right. Okay. And we will, okay. Nathan was walking through the shiny forest when they found a magical spaceship. As soon as they touched it, the spaceship began to jump. John Wayne appeared and shouted, "You must prancing immediately." Nathan felt very beautiful and ran with 22 cats following behind. It was the most exciting day at the mountain ever. Apparently, I cannot spell. We'll have to look for the and they. All right, but we will test the final button first. Clear it out so you can start over. All right. So, the and they. Okay. They ran with the. All right. Should sort our story out. You can add more of your own stories in there. And okay, here's some challenges for you to improve your Mad Libs generator. Add multiple story templates and let the user choose. Add more input fields, place animal, food, etc. Add a save story button that writes the story to a text file. Create a random word suggestion button. Make the interface even more colorful with themes. And that's it. You have your own Mad Libs story generator. This is such a fun project because you can play it with friends and family. It shows how creative you can be with Python. You learn how to collect multiple user inputs and use them to build dynamic text, a very useful skill. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more Python projects. Let me know in the comments what was the funniest story you generated and which challenges you are going to try. As always, remember that you can go get the complete code at our GitHub, which is linked in the description and posted in a comment. We will see you next time. Happy coding.